Hey guys, welcome back to my channel where I review different action figures. Today I'll be reviewing Mcfarlane Toys DC Multiverse Azreal and Azreal Batman armor from the Curse of the White Knight comic books. So let's get straight into the video. Okay, so we'll start with the accessories. And so I thought I'd start with the box, which I have for the Azreal Batman armor. So it says there with the DC Multiverse. It's got the window there, the top. On the side, it says the name again. It's got a little small window there. Then it's got the picture, same picture as the trading card on the back here. And then there's some. Alright, so we'll get into the other accessories now, starting with the stands. These are just the basic DC Multiverse stands that come with every figure. And they're just in plain black paint. They're exact same. They've got the pegs to help the figure stand up. Then they've got a small DC logo on there. So they're just pretty plain. Then we have the trading cards. So here's the Azreal one, just the normal one with his flame sword. It's got a pretty cool picture on there. Then on the back we have the source, real name, height, weight, and a little bio that if you'd like to read it, you can pause the video now. Then on to the next trading card for the Azbat armor. Has another cool picture of him in his armor, and then also has Batman in there. And then on the back, we have the source, real name, height, weight, and again, if you'd like to read this, you can pause the video now. And then on to the main accessories, we have the swords, which do have a little bit of differences while they look mostly the same. I noticed that the blades do kind of look a little nicer on the Azbat one, which is newer. The Azreal normal one just looks kind of beat up and stuff. And then also the paints are different. So the one on the right is the Azbat ones. That's more of kind of a bronze gold one. While the one on the left for the normal Azreal, it's more of a yellow gold one. Then also the red is just a little bit lighter on the Azbat one. So I think these are really cool. And I think I do like the right one a little better just because it looks a little nicer. But overall, I still think these are really cool. And then next, this only comes with the Azreal one, which is his flame attachment, which can go on the sword. And so you just slide it on. It makes it look really cool. Adds a lot of cool detail to it. And then it can also go on the Azbat one, which I really like, but I really wish they would have both come with flame swords just because it both shows them with it. But it's alright. I'll probably mostly use this flame effect with the Azbat one just because I think it's a little cooler. But overall, these are some pretty great accessories, so let's move on. Okay, so we'll look at the figures now up close, starting with the normal Azreal. So I'll put the Azbat to the side. And so just looking at this overall, this is a really clean looking figure. And he's got a nice paint job and nice details on him. He's got the golds and different shades of red. It looks really nice, and he's even got a wash of kind of black paint over him. Makes it look kind of more realistic sort of thing. And I really like how they made all these like cloth details and stuff. It looks really good. Even has it on the back right here. And then he's also got clean paint on his belt right here, even on these small beads. It's really clean and stuff. And then his face looks really good. Looks very accurate to the comic book. He's got some nice feather on this shoulder pad thing here. And then for his kind of cape thing, it's actually a hard plastic up here, so that's how it's staying up like that. And then on the back right here, it's all just kind of flexible and stuff. And I really like that, but they just didn't make it all stiff. That would have been a deal breaker for it. But even though he has some kind of plain spots like this, just normal red here, I think that the torso sort of makes up for that, and it still looks very good. And so overall, I really think they did a good job on this figure, and he looks really nice, so I really like him. And so now we'll take a look at the Azbat figure. And so looking at this overview, it does have a lot of black onto it. It's kind of looks plain, but it does have a lot of nice details to it that kind of makes up for the plainness of it. And so one thing is it has gold over here on the belt and the signal and part on the shoulder pads, a little bit on the gauntlet. That does help break it up to make it look nice and stand out on here. And then if you take a look closer, he's got some nice details. He's got some collar details right there on his neck. The helmet looks really nice. Those red eyes really stand out on him. Then on the back, he's got the cape, which it's more of a plain cape. It's not as flowy, but it still does look really good. And this figure, when you open it, it does come with these things out, which I do not really like. So what I do is I lift up these shoulder pads and then I tuck it under, so then it looks even more like it's kind of part of the figure instead of out like that, which looks kind of weird. And it doesn't really affect the shoulder pads, which looks really nice. And he also has some silver on his fingers and then the little kind of blade things on his gauntlets. Then you can see he's all got these armory sort of details right here. Looks really nice. You can see he's got some more kind of, looks robotic sort of armory right there in between the legs right there. That looks really nice. And then he's got the pouches here, goes all the way around his leg. And then he's also got his belt that comes all the way around. Nice gold paint. And so yeah, he looks very good, and I really like this figure too. But I think I do like the other one a little better, just because I kind of like the normal Azreal a little better, but I still really like this figure. So yeah. And now it's that magical time of the video, articulation time. Yay! Alright, so we'll get into the articulation right away. So we'll start the head. So he can move up just a little bit, but he can move down a lot more. He has some side to side, and then he can also turn both ways. Then also, you can move his head up inside the hood, even though the head and the hood are kind of connected. So if you kind of wanted his eyes just barely peeking out, kind of give him a more sinister sort of scary look, you could do that. I like it when it's just fully out. I think it looks cooler. Then we have the arms, which can go up that much. There's the butterfly joint, which can make it go forward and back. Can make it go down a little bit, up a little bit. Then it can go all the way around on this left arm. Then it has a single jointed elbow. And then he also has a wrist that can go up and down. And it twists all the way around. But for this side, the right side, it's a little hindered by this, so it can't go up as much as this arm can. It's not that big of a deal, but it's just slight, and then it can't go all the way around, obviously, but everything else is the same. And then for the torso, can go forward that much, can go back that much, and then he's overall got a pretty good range of motion on here. Then the legs, he's got forward that much. This knife does not hinder it at all. Can go back that much. Then he has a double jointed knee. Then he's got the ankle, goes forward, goes back, has the toe. And that concludes articulation time for this figure. So let's move on to the Azbat figure. Alright, so we'll start with the head with him again. So his head looks up pretty good. Cannot go down really too much. He has more of just kind of a neutral looking forward, but he does have a little bit of down. Can't really turn side to side that much just because his collar right here blocks that. And then he does have a little bit of tilt though on his head. And then his shoulder pads, probably saw a little earlier when I was moving the cape, it's on a ball joint sort of thing. So this can move around, and even when you just move the arm up, it's not hindered at all. And so his arm can go up that much, pretty good. Got the butterfly joint in there, move up and down. He's got the bicep, let's see, bicep. It's a little stiff on this figure. And then got the single jointed elbow again, just because he's a big figure. And then you've got the wrist articulation. And again, it can twist all the way around. And it's the same for both sides. Then for torso, does not move forward really that much. He's got one of the worst sort of torso ab crunch articulation things. But then he goes back pretty far. And then next, got his leg, goes forward that much, back that much. Then you've got a double jointed knee, and I don't think it hinders it here at all. Nope, it's pretty much the same. And then you got the foot, ankle right there, and then you can twist it all the way around if you wanted to, and then you got the toe. Then also one thing I wanted to mention is that on the knee right here, once you get past a certain point, it gets kind of not as stable. It's kind of loose right there, which it also does have that on this figure, the normal Azreal too. And so sometimes it's kind of a hassle to get him into a good pose, and sometimes it's hard, just like his leg will move back, so it's kind of hard sometimes. That's just something I wanted to mention for these figures, but there's all the articulation for these figures, so yeah. Oh, and I almost forgot. This guy is like one of the only Mcfarlane figures that actually has, what do you call it? Thigh articulation right there, thigh swivel. And it is really stiff on both these legs, but I'm sure once I move it around more, it'll get less stiff, but I just forgot to mention that. So yeah, it's pretty cool that this figure actually has the thigh cut. So I really like that for this. And so now we'll do some comparisons with these figures. And just before I talk about that, I just wanted to mention that because these two figures are pretty top heavy, they are sometimes harder to stand up. So that's why I'm using the stands right now, because sometimes they're just tricky to get up. And so back to the comparisons. This is the Arkham Asylum Batman in the middle. And so I think they scale pretty well. Definitely not the head, just because this guy is more stylized sort of thing, but I think that they look pretty good together because I feel like Batman and Azreal are pretty close in height, and so I really think that they look good together. And so now we'll take a look at some different poses that you can get these guys in, and so you can have him holding the sword with both hands. It is a little tricky to do, but you can do it. And then this guy's just kind of in a neutral sort of pose with his sword. And then you can also have Azrael in kind of a kneeling position with his sword, which looks cool. And then have Azbat with the flame sword, kind of in a battle sort of position sort of thing. Or you could pretend that they were from different multiverses or something, or a different Earth, and that they came across each other and so they started fighting. And you can kind of turn them if you want to see a different angle sort of thing. There's just the back, there's the side, and then there's like the front. So there's some just different poses that you can do with these figures. Alright, so overall I really like these figures, and I think that they did a good job of making them look comic accurate, because these are kind of stylized sort of comic book characters, but I do think that the Azreal one does look kind of like a classic sort of Azreal, and then the Azbat armor just looks really cool. I actually didn't like the White Knight Batman and Joker as much, so I didn't end up getting them, but overall I think these are all right figures, besides the knee thing where it gets super loose and it's harder to pose. And that the Azbat one didn't actually come with a flame effect for the sword. I think that they're really great figures other than that. So just before I end the video, I'll do the sneak peek for the next video. I'm looking at you, Ethan Banks. So here we go. Alright, so thank you for watching this video, and if you enjoyed, please like and subscribe. And if you'd like to be notified for my other videos, hit the notification bell, and I hope you have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video.